Everybody, we will call the Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, April 26th to order at 6 o'clock p.m. We'll do that again. Good evening, everybody. We will call together the Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, April 26th at 6 o'clock p.m. Can I get a roll call attendance, please?
Commissioner Stevens?
Here.
Commissioner Bedoya?
Here.
Commissioner Black stated she was ill this evening, so she would not be attending. Vice Chair Calindres stated he would be about 20 minutes late. Chairman Smith?
Here. That was quite loud that time. All right, with that, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Bedoya, you will lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, do we have any adjustments to the agenda at this time?
That would be me. No adjustments.
All right, any conflicts of interest to disclose tonight? All right. Hearing none, we'll move to the public comment period for items not on the agenda. This meeting will be open to the public and conducted in a virtual format to be inclusive of all participation preferences. Public comment participation is encouraged by emailing any comments to the city clerk's office or by calling in using the phone number provided on the front of the agenda. Do we have any public comments at this time?
Yes, sir. We have three. First one is John Mclaughlin.
Good evening. My name is John Mclaughlin, and I recently was elected president of the San Gorgonio Pass Historical Society. And this morning I got a call from the city manager's office that said that the house across the street, 507 East 6th Street, the what's commonly known as the Iyer House, a demolition for request for demolition was submitted by the owner. And of course, being the Historical Society, we're very concerned because that house has significant historical value here to, the city of Beaumont. So I wanted to come before you tonight. I don't even know if that item will ever come before this group, but I just wanted to make you folks aware a little bit about that house and why it's important. Back in 1888, the Southern California Investment Company owned the town site of Beaumont. And in 1888, there was there was a lot of inflation and land prices went real high, and they had a real problem selling land, and they started mortgaging the property and mortgaged it up to here. And it came to the point where the bank was very liberal with them, but they weren't allowed to sell anything but the whole town site. They weren't allowed to sell individual properties. And in comes Clendon Bennett Iyer, Charles was what he went by. He bought the town site from that Southern California Investment Company in 1907 and kind of saved things because we wouldn't be what we are today without him having bought that. It would have gone to receivership and that would have been it. He immediately formed the Beaumont Land and Water Company because water was a problem. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And the crops, people couldn't grow crops that needed watering. They could do dry farming, but there wasn't enough water. And so he formed this water company and they searched for water and finally got water out of the Edgar Canyon area, which we still get water out of today. And he established this, what was called in the historical things, a modest California-style bungalow across the street at 6th and Magnolia. And we think he did it probably between 1907 and 1910 because he was listed in the 1910 census as a resident of Beaumont. So that house is in excess of 100 years old. It's probably the oldest residential structure here in the city of Beaumont. And his wife was very active in the community along with some other ladies. They formed the Women's Club. The Women's Club made the library happen that's still here in Beaumont. So those two buildings in the library are still here. And then the city was incorporated in 1912, which was not too long after he came here and became a city. He was just a very important factor in the growth of this community because he bought it for one thing and then sold it to people so that it could become a city and be what it is today. And without his vision and investment, we just wouldn't have what we have now. He made that happen because he was a forward-thinking person. And preservation of our community's history is just as important as its future and as important as anything new. We can't have the new things if we don't take care of the past and don't take care of history. And I would like to say that the Historical Society is not opposed to growth. We just want it to have a conscience and to be aware of the history of the area and not just throw it to the wayside. So that's what I wanted to speak to you about today. Thanks.
Thank you. I always appreciate a good little history lesson. I'll have to pay more attention to that house when we leave here tonight.
We'll be back.
Do you have any other requests to speak?
Yes, sir. Next speaker, I have two more after this. Mr. Sean Belinget.
Hey, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I come as the former president of the San Gorgonio Pass Historical Society, but also as a former planning commissioner and as former chair of this planning commission. Born and raised here, my great-grandparents lived here, and now my grandchildren live here, so that puts my family here 6 generations in the Pass area. As John alluded to, the Iyer House is a very important piece of our historical past, being tied to one of the original founders of the Beaumont Water and Land Company. One of the people originally in charge of planning for the town that we now know as Beaumont. Prior to that, it was known as San Gorgonio, had a brief history as Summit, but came to be called Beaumont right around the time that Beaumont Water and Land Company took over. You know, as I came in, I came down the hallway and saw the pictures that we have here, and the city celebrates our history with pictures of the old Bank of Beaumont on 5th Street, some other photos of historical significance. And it's important that we not just do it in photos, but we do it in actuality, that we actually preserve these items. We have some public buildings. We have the Women's Club. We have the Beaumont Library. The Bank of Beaumont is there. It's now precision stamping, but the building still exists. But as far as residences, we're behind. We're not like Redlands that has a very active historical preservation of homes. The Iyer House is one that we're aware of. It may be the oldest. The other is the Mccoy House. I'm not know if you're familiar with the Mccoy House between 6th and 7th on Edgar Avenue. If you get a chance, drive by. It's the 2-story white house. It was built by one of, I believe, the first mayor of Beaumont, Mccoy. So, you know, as we've changed over the years from when the freeway went in the late 50s, became a very sleepy town up until the late 80s, early 90s when some of the first development came, things have begun to change. Buildings and other historical items have begun to disappear. At the Historical Society, we work hard to preserve those items where we can. We believe it is important because one of the ties that bind us as a community and give us that small town feel and that connective tissue is when we can point to a physical item and explain to someone new what that meant to us in the past and what it'll mean to them going forward as they claim Beaumont as part of their heritage. So if some item comes in front of you that requires the removal of a historical item like the Iyer home, I would hope that you would give it sincere consideration as to preserve our history and keeping us a small town. Thank you.
Next speaker is Lori McLaughlin.
How do you start that? Oh, it starts by itself. Thank you.
Start it over.
One of the activities that Sean was talking about is that our exhibit, which is a 40-foot by 10-foot exhibit, will be at the Cherry Festival. You guys have probably seen it when you've been there. And thank goodness the Cherry Festival is back. So stop by and see what we have on display. That's one of our chief ways of communicating. I also wanted to say there is a real interest in local history here, and the reason we know that, well, one reason, is at our last meeting we had 69 people, and that didn't count me or the speaker. So that was Thursday before last. That's pretty good. And the meeting before that had 55. Our all-time is 74. So there's an interest in history. And I'm a fourth generation Beaumontian, and I really want this town to be something to show off. However, I was gone for 30 years, lived around the world and came back. And I came back 7 years ago. And the 80s, 90s, and the aughts weren't that great to this city in terms of how it looks. And when people come to visit, we don't spend much time here. And I do not like driving around town because, well, we all know why. So, and I've lived in a lot of great places that did a lot of historic preservation, and they make a great deal of money off that. And as the properties deteriorate through the lack of maintenance, like the Iyer House, what I'm curious about, and I need to do a little more research about, is where does the city and ordinance come in on that? There are tons of historic properties that need a coat of paint, or at the minimum, or maybe just some landscape trimming, but I don't, where does that come in? So that's something I'm gonna have to learn more about. And I'm hoping that we have the standards that can be upheld, that would really like to see a city with a historical commission established. That would be pretty awesome. And I'm not talking about the restrictive kind where you can't do anything to anything. I'm talking about the kind that's healthy and makes this city kick patootie in terms of how it looks when people come in, they come off the 60 or off the 10, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is adorable. Why can't we be that? I don't know why we can't be that. And I also wanted to say, the Iyer House is a significant property, and just like Dad, that happens to be my dad, and Sean said, if there was not a Clarendon Iyer, there might not be a Beaumont. So we need to really think carefully about that house. It could be a really cool thing right across from City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker. Sorry, I keep doing this so I don't get an echo. Gay Rusk.
Hello. I'm actually here from Banning, but I belong to the Past Historical Society. So I came to tell you about a building that was recently knocked down in Banning, carelessly, casually, knocked down overnight on a weekend so no one would see. And it was the oldest home still extant in Banning. It was abandoned, but it was in rock-solid shape. Took them a lot of effort to knock it down. So there's a lot of anger in our town about that. I mean, people are just ticked off. Okay? Then that's the truth, the baseline truth. And the sense is that this was done without any thought, any care for the history of our town. The oldest building in Banning, the oldest extant house in Banning. The family's still around too, but they had to sell it. And the school district bought it. And they're the ones who did that. So there's a lack of trust now. There's anger. There's huge disappointment. It's such a loss. And like they've said, history pays. People travel to see history. Look at any small town in Canada, any small town in Mexico, any small town on the eastern seaboard. They make millions a year after tourists who come to see history because they have preserved it. And they don't walk in ignorance in the present because they've knocked down their history. All right, you can see I'm a little ticked off. So I'll leave you with that. That's my message to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other requests to speak?
Not on this item.
Am I allowed to make a comment? For everybody that's here, thank you for showing up tonight and providing the education. I hope that if items do come up, that you guys are able to participate as well to educate us if there is an item that we may not be aware of. So we do appreciate your participation. And I also would encourage, for this, you mentioned a corridor, there is the downtown, we are working on that plan and working close with that committee, what we can do within the right of way with what private owners could do. I think would be a great meeting up of ideas there. So I encourage participation there. All right. Thank you.
Thanks for letting us speak, and of course, you're all invited to the Historical Society meetings. We hold them once a month on Thursdays. But we've been meeting at the Grange because the Women's Club has been used for COVID testing, but come and join us. There's a lot of good stuff that happens.
Which Thursday of the month is it? Second Thursday? Okay.
7 p.m.
Okay.
So far at the Grange.
Soon we'll return to our small.
Yeah,
My email.
yeah, got it.
And I would like to say, we did get a notification from the city about this, which was very,
Yeah, that was really nice.
I mean, that was when we realized, I don't know who called it, John, okay. But somebody did from the city, so I thought that was a step in the right direction, unlike Danny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you can go about your business.
All right, moving on to our first item is approval of the minutes. Are there any requests to speak on this?
No, sir. Heather, do we have anyone on the line for this item?
No, we do not.
Any comments from the committee? All right, we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes for Tuesday, March 8th, 2022.
Second. All right, with a motion and a second, take a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Bedoya?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. All right, item number 2, conditional use permit number CUP 2022-0064 for consideration of a request to allow microblading services in conjunction with an existing beauty service business located at 851 East 6th Street, Suite B1 in the 6th Street mixed-use zone. We'll have a staff report, please.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Carol Kendrick, Planning Staff, presenting this application that was submitted to the city on April 7th, 2022. We did also provide a public notice in the Press Enterprise and notified property owners within a 300-foot radius of this hearing, and no comments have been received to date. So the municipal code does allow tattooing services subject to a CUP. Microblading is not a strict tattooing service, but it shares some similar traits. It is described as a semi-permanent technique used for enhancing the eyebrows, in which pigment is scratched into the skin with fine short strokes to resemble hair, and it's used with a hand tool that has a blade with several tiny needles. This use is subject to health standards and guidelines that are established by OSHA and the CDC. As you mentioned in the description, the project is located in the downtown mixed-use general plan designation, and it is located in the downtown, the 6th Street mixed-use zoning designation. The surrounding properties have the same general plan land use designation, and the surrounding zones include downtown mixed use, 6th Street mixed use, and 6th Street mixed use residential. This particular site is fully developed with 3 commercial buildings on a little under 1.5 acres, and it's a multi-tenant property with several businesses that are operating. This current business, which is Loma Linda Aesthetics, is currently operating, and it currently provides beauty services, including microdermabrasion, oxygen facials, hydrofacials, Botox fillers. As part of that original approval under the administrative plot plan, they did request microblading. We did provide that approval. However, the microblading was going to be subject to a CUP, so that approval is pending. The use is proposed to operate by appointment only, Monday through Friday. And this project is exempt from CEQA as a Class 1 existing facility categorical exemption. Staff has made all the required conditional use permit findings that are included in your staff report. And so at this time, staff would recommend that the Planning Commission hold a public hearing and approve conditional use permit 2022-0064, subject to the proposed conditions of approval, and direct staff to prepare a notice of exemption for the applicant to file with the Riverside County Clerk Recorder. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. We also have the applicant in the audience who can answer any questions you may have as well.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the commission?
None at this time.
All right, with that, we'll open a public hearing then at 6:20. Are there any requests to speak on this item?
I have no written comments. Heather, do we have anyone on the line?
No, we do not.
Invite the owner if you'd like to speak in or have anything to say. It's
here
up
so
to
we
you.
Get on the mic.
You're all, I mean, if you're going to speak, come up, yes, but
Could you open the public hearing?
I did, 6:20.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry. Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. I'm the owner. I've been doing this for many years, bringing it into Beaumont. It's everywhere. It's in every city. It's in Redlands, Calamasa. A lot of people probably don't go this far and get their, I don't know, pay all this money for this, but I am. I'm making sure that I'm doing everything legit. So it's not uncommon to have this. It's just our town needs it. And I'm a professional. I've been in the industry for 24 years, so I think I'm a good candidate for it. I didn't know how to go through all these loopholes, but here I am. I'll do what I have to do, but if you guys approve it, it would be awesome. Do you have any questions for me?
No questions, just I learned a lot about this process of microblading. I had no idea what that was, but and how similar, it showed some similar with tattooing.
Right.
So that's why we're going through this process, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Another thing with microblading, I'm sure half the women you guys are looking at have it done. So yeah, anybody else have a question for me?
No, all the licensure that you need is all through the state?
I'm
This is
sorry?
just- All licensure is all through the state?
Yes.
Yep, all right,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, without any other public comments, we'll close the public hearing at 6:22. And we'll ask for a motion.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Sorry. Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Bedoya?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. Great. Thank you, and good luck. All right, item number 3 tonight, Plan 2022-0756 for consideration of a sign program for the Beaumont Crossroads 2 Logistics Park Project located at 36900 and 36855 West 4th Street in the Hidden Canyon Specific Plan Zone. Staff report, please.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. Carol Kendrick, Planning Staff. Presenting a sign program that was submitted to the city on April 2nd, 2022. Under the Beaumont Municipal Code, Section 17.07.030L, it does allow sign programs for specific developments that may modify the rules regarding sign size, height, illumination, spacing, orientation, or other non-communicative aspects of signs. This subject property is located within the Hidden Canyon Industrial Specific Plan. And just to give you a little bit of history on it, the Beaumont Gateway SP Lockheed was approved in 1995 for approximately 573 dwelling units on 5,000 square foot lots. It was amended under the Wiley Test Lab facility in 2001 for an industrial and operation of a small industrial testing facility. In the first Hidden Canyon version was a 426 single-family lot development with 20 acres in park and open space and a 5-acre commercial site. It was amended in 2012. That changed it from residential to industrial. And then we've had a couple plot plans that have come through for the building siting that were done in 2012, 2016, and 2018, and we recently did a substantial conformance with the developer to reduce the square footage from 2.86 million square feet down to 2.59 million square feet of industrial. That does include the Building 1 that is currently under construction is Amazon facility, and then we anticipate the future Building 2 will be coming forward shortly. The property is zoned Hidden Canyon Industrial Specific Plan, and it has a general plan land use designation of industrial. The surrounding properties include the County of Riverside to the south, east, and west. A single-family residence is located to the east and to the west, and vacant land to the south. The Heartland Specific Plan is located to the north, and the Olive Wood development is currently under construction. So as part of the sign program, they are requesting 3 types of signs, or have identified 3 types of signs that include wall signs, addressing signs, and monuments. For the wall signs, they are asking for a square footage of 384.25 square feet with a height of 7 feet 3 inches and a length of 53 inches and a 4-inch letter height. And then for the Amazon Swish, it's 140 square feet, and it's 5 feet 7.5 inches with a 25-foot length. These signs are all in scale with the size of the building. The addressing sign is at 24-inch minimum, which is the requirement for building and fire regulations. And then they are requesting a monument sign that is a little under 150 square feet, 22 feet in length, and a little under 7 feet in height. So at this time, staff would recommend that the Planning Commission discuss the project and then approve Plan 2022-0756 for the Beaumont Crossroads 2 Logistics Park Sign Program as presented. This concludes my presentation, and I do believe that we have the developer on the phone to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission?
Yes. Is this application consistent with the other Amazon building? Is anything going to stick out that is not, you said it's within proportion, but is it dramatically different or the same as the current Crossroads?
It is similar to the existing Crossroads facility.
Bishop Bedoya? No. I was technically curious about this day-night perforated vinyl and how it changes color, but I'm not sure if the sign person's on, they could describe that a little bit, and that might just be a little too wonky for this discussion anyway. But I would imagine that when the other business does come in, that we would see a revision to the sign program.
There's the potential for that, but in this sign program, they do have the, in the elevations, they do have the building envelope or the sign envelope in there. So they have identified, the area where a sign could go on building 2. I don't anticipate that we'd see any modifications to it, but for the Beaumont Crossroads 1, we did bring forward a modification. And the difference between this one and that one is they have the big pylon sign, well, kind of pylon, very tall monument freeway sign. This one does not have that. It just has the monument sign. And so the modification we did to Beaumont Crossroads included, I think, some height to that freeway sign. So I don't anticipate any modifications, but again, that would come back.
Okay. I just figure corporate branding what it is.
Yeah. I think the applicant has, knows who the end user is going to be, and so has taken that into account in developing this sign program.
Okay. Are there any requests to speak on this item?
I have no written comments. Heather, do we still have a caller on the line?
Yes, we have Bruce McDonald on the line.
Okay, go ahead and put him through.
Okay, thank you.
No? Okay. All right, Mr. McDonald, are you there?
Not yet, hold on.
Oh.
Mr. McDonald, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, wait, hold on. I have some audio issues on my end. Give me just a minute. Okay, can you try one more time?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, go right ahead.
Hi, has this report been read for the commission yet by the planner?
Yes, it has. It's now public
Oh.
comment period, and you're on with the planning commissioners.
Well, thank you. Hello, Commissioner Smith and commissioners. How are you this evening? I'm Bruce McDonald with McDonald Property Group. You have here before you our master sign criteria program. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Can you hear me? Yep. And I welcome this opportunity to speak with you. Sorry I couldn't be here this evening, but Carol Kendrick prepared this report, and I'm assuming she's there. Is that correct?
Yes.
I assisted in preparing this document, and we fully support your approval tonight. It's for a master sign program, of which one building we're completing in August. And in the back of the sign program, it has the details for that tenant. And we're starting construction of another building, which this master sign program will also cover, which is up for approval this evening. That'll be started by late summer and completed before the end of 2023. So this is a critical document that we ask for your approval this evening.
Right. Thank you.
I'm here for any questions if you'd like to ask them.
Any
Thank you.
questions? Any questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you, commissioners. Appreciate all your efforts.
All right. Any further discussion amongst the commission? All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve Plan 2022-0756.
Second. All right. We have a motion and a second. A roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Bedoya?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. All right. Takes care of our regular business items. Ms. Taylor, any comments from community development?
I do, just a few, thank you. So as it pertains to our business here on the Planning Commission, at this time, I'm not anticipating that we will have a meeting in May. The deadline for public noticing projects for our normally scheduled meeting was this morning, and we had no projects quite ready to go. The second meeting falls quite closely to Memorial Weekend and things like that, so we will try and avoid that if at all possible. I do anticipate we will have both meetings in June, so please book your calendar accordingly. June 28th will be a special meeting specifically for the Summit Station project, which I'm sure a lot of you have been made aware of either through social media or through city postings or conversations here at the Planning Department and Planning Commission. All of the documents, including the draft EIR and specific plan, all the related items are available on the city's website, on the State Clearinghouse website, and a hard copy at the library. And if anybody needs access to it, they can always come to the Planning Department. But the meeting on June 28th will be solely for that item as we anticipate a large amount of public participation. So that concludes my comments for this evening, and we'll let you know if anything changes regarding May meetings.
Thank you. All right. With that, we will adjourn the meeting tonight at 6:34. Thank you all.